What up? It's your boy K Blau, put X for corporate algorithm, and I am back with the fourth session of the fast forward button. All right, so um, this one I promise you will not take a lot of time because it is very easy concept to grasp. But I want you to just walk with me because I want you to grasp it in a way toward the corporate algorithm, toward the fast forward button. All right, now this section is one of the, I'm very passionate about this section. You know what I'm saying? Like bookmarks. Like, why are you passionate about bookmarks? Because the more you bookmark, I've said this in multiple videos. If you follow me for a while, you know this. I'm constantly talking about bookmarking. Because bookmarking is not just bookmarking a computer. It's really like a way of life. I know this probably sounds outrageous, you know what I'm saying? But follow me, you know what I'm saying? Because I've been bookmarking for a very long time. And I noticed that has really been a major staple in my entire, not just business, but my entire outlook, like on life. Um, the way I approach bookmarking is kind of like this. When I first got on the internet, you know what I'm saying? This was back in like when AOL had first came out, and they still had some stuff called Net Zero, and people used to download movies and MP3s on this thing. It was called Kazaa, and they had LimeWire, and this is like back in the day, like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, way back then, I wasn't using the same browser, and that Chrome wasn't out, but I was using, you know what I'm saying, America Online. I was using Net Zero. I used to bookmark in these browsers. You know what I'm saying? They had Internet Explorer. I used to bookmark in there as well. And what happened was that, like, as time went on, different browsers started coming out. Like, they came out with Firefox. You know what I'm saying? And then I started bookmarking in there. And then it took them a while before they could actually before you could bounce bookmarks over into like another browser. You know what I'm saying? It took a while before this happened. But up to that point, I just had different browsers that had different bookmarks in them. So I used to go to different browsers to use, you know, for different things. And that kind of the same way that I've been explaining in this video series is that, like, you know, back then I used to use different browsers for different themes of what I was doing, whether it was music, if it was some family stuff, if it was business. You know, I would use a different browser, you know, based on that theme, because those bookmarks were in that browser, and I didn't have a way to bounce those bookmarks over into one browser. You know what I'm saying? So when Chrome had came out, and I had, you know, started getting better and better at bookmarks, so when I literally had the ability to take all of the bookmarks, everything I had ever bookmarked, and put it in one browser. And this was huge for me because, like, I could literally go back and see my entire, like, internet experience from the beginning. And then, like, I had like hundreds and thousands of bookmarks, like, in an order that I understand, you know, so I can literally reference back to almost any internet page in my mind, you know what I'm saying, within a matter of seconds. I can navigate right to it. If I think of any internet page, like, typically within like 5 to 10 seconds, I can navigate right to it and know exactly where it is. And it's not just in my computer, it's in my mind, because I, you know, the same bookmarks that are in my browser are also in my phone or anywhere I go. And they're like, no matter where I go and log into Chrome, I have all my bookmarks with me. They're in the cloud. They're in the ether, basically. You know, and this is how I want you to approach the internet, in that a lot of people approach the internet wrong, in that you don't have to look for pages. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you ever been out somewhere with somebody and you've seen something on the internet that really held your attention, but you couldn't find it, you know what I'm saying? Like, right then and there in the heat of the moment, you need to show something. You're like, oh man, where was that? Where is it? And you can't find it. Like, I don't really have that experience. You know what I'm saying? I see people do this all the time. And I'll try to explain to them, like, man, how come you don't bookmark? And then, like, to most people, the concept is so foreign that even me telling them to bookmark, they still don't, even right then in the moment, they still don't see the importance of what I'm saying because the thought is so foreign. So that's why I really want you to grasp this concept up front and see that, like, you know, if you could go back from the first time you ever got on the internet and you think that you had bookmarked all those pages, you think about how much information you've lost and forgotten, you would be able to, you know what I'm saying, move way more faster and efficient in your business. You know what I'm saying? So I want you to really digest that thought moving forward, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to bookmarks, because that's how I approach it, and that I'm basically living proof, and that, like, you know, I can, you know, process through thousands of internet pages in my mind you know what I'm saying, based on the way I bookmark. So I want you to have that same experience by watching the fast forward button. All right, so I'm gonna just, like I said, this should not take too long at all. I'm just gonna go through these notes pretty quick because it's pretty self-explanatory. So and then we're gonna wrap this up and get to chapter 5 tomorrow. All right, so basically part, or the first note you want to take away from this is bookmark everything. And I'm talking about literally everything. And then you might find it kind of difficult at first to start to find a place to put all of, you know what I'm saying, all this information. That you got to split this up into themes and different folders. But get creative. You know what I'm saying? If you got to put something in a folder inside of another folder inside of another folder, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's what you got to do. But like, you know what I'm saying, bookmark everything and make sure that, you know what I'm saying, that the folders hold the themes properly, and get good at this. Second is you want to bookmark your emails into folders. So as you're talking to people, you know what I'm saying, that fit into these things, like if you're talking about music with somebody, you want to not only bookmark, when you do your contacts, you want to have a list of contacts. Like if you're doing music, for example, or whatever your business is, you want to have a whole list of these people, you know, in one folder, and then you want to have that bookmarked into the folder that it correlates with. So like I said, for example, if you're doing music, you know what I'm saying, you want to have your music email list. So when you click on the contacts and you say, okay, show me all the music contacts, you have a whole list of all these contacts, and you want to bookmark that page into your music folder, you know what I'm saying, somewhere in that music folder, according to whether it's your contacts or however you got it set up, you know what I'm saying. So that way, you know, every person that you're dealing with, you want to make sure that, okay, like what folder is this person in? You know, you don't want to have what's called wild cards, which is like people who are not in a folder at all. And then like when you're dealing with people, you kind of want to balance that energy. If not, they become a distraction. So even if you have to put them in a folder called wild cards or distraction, like the people that you have in your life that literally have no, you know what I'm saying, no purpose per se, you want to put them in a folder, you know what I'm saying? And so when you know you're associating with people, you start to see the people that are affiliated with those, you know, the folders and energy, how you set up your folders, you'll start to associate people with those folders. The better you are at bookmarking, you know, the emails and those contacts into those folders as well. So you also do want to do the actual emails. Like sometimes you get really important emails, you know, bookmark that into that same folder as well. You know, you might want to make another separate folder for that particular category, you know, for those emails, but you definitely want to put that in the same folder. Part 3 is what I just said is bookmark the contacts into that folder. So basically the same thing I just said. You want to have a list of all your contacts and bookmark them into that same folder. Number 4 is there's a difference between mobile bookmarks and desktop bookmarks. When you go like when you go on your phone, you'll see a section that say mobile bookmarks, you know, and typically your phone is going to by default start programming your bookmarks into that folder. I don't do that because I put them all on the desktop, and then I want the same bookmarks that's in my phone on my desktop and vice versa. I've ran into experiences where certain times where I bookmark into the mobile bookmark folder and they don't show up on the desktop, so I don't do that anymore. I put everything in the desktop, but you can work with that yourself and figure out what works best for you. But that's why I just put it up front. Just know that there's a difference between that, and you won't have that option. And last is you want to, you know, like I said, the concept of bookmarks extends into we could say lists and playlists in general. And then like when you're on YouTube, you know what I'm saying, these aren't current bookmarks, but you can make playlists on YouTube, meaning that, like, you know, depending on the same thing, the themes of what it, you know, what you're talking about, whether it's your music, your business, or your hobbies or your family, you know, you can make playlists for the video. So you don't have to bookmark every video per se. You can, like I said, make a playlist, just like in Facebook. You don't necessarily want to bookmark every profile of, I mean, you can do this, but you can make a list instead. Like on Facebook, you can make a Facebook list. And it's like, okay, show me this list of people. So, and like a lot of programs have the ability to create lists or playlists instead of actually bookmarking every page. You want to get good at doing this in the programs. It's like bookmarking inside the program. You know what I'm saying? And then you can bookmark that page. So you don't have a million bookmarks over something that you could have created a playlist or a list for. So I'm saying, so as you're using apps, as you're using programs, look for the ability to make lists or basically playlists inside of that app. You follow what I'm saying? And this will save you a lot of time as well. You know what I'm saying? As far as bookmarks. So basically, yeah, that's it. You know what I'm saying? We only got 5 in this session. It's, like I said, it was a pretty fast session. Why did it do that? This is the you know what I'm saying, chapter 4. You can go back and get the notes. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for chapter 5. And you're starting this. If you go back and watch from chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and then chapter 4, you will start to clearly see how this is all preparing you for the data that we're going to start to insert in all of these basically empty chambers, empty, potential, these empty folders, basically. Right now we're just getting all of our folders ready because we're going to start putting information in all of these folders, or what I typically use called chambers, but it's, from a business standpoint, it's like folders. So like, if you need to go back and watch part 1, and then and watch it all the way through again up to part 4, because part 5, like I said, that's what we're going to really start to change up this whole pace. And then we got all of our base laid. Now it comes, it's time to start reaching out to people and start getting response and creating some momentum. All right, so make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you haven't, click that like button and share it with somebody you think that needs this information. And make sure you subscribe to my channel and send me an email if you need me, a corporate algorithm at gmail.com. All right, see you tomorrow.